Hi there, this is another video. I'm going to be showing how to do a basic DCC decoder install on an old school Athearn Blue Box locomotive. Here we've got two Alco PA1s and PB1. I have had the PB and the PA for a long time. I bought these brand new at the hobby store back when they made these, when they were still making these brand new. These two run fine. This one, the other PA1, I picked up on eBay. It has some issues. Among the issues, it's fairly well seized up. It's got some really nasty black grease. Luckily alcohol seems to take off this black grease. So this one I'll be disassembling and showing you how to disassemble and clean and reassemble. These are actually a little bit different. This one I believe is actually older. It has these metal trucks, whereas the other ones have the plastic trucks. I think everything else is pretty much actually even the chassis is a little bit different, as you can tell. They're a little bit slightly different. Alright, hopefully this is a little easier to see. My last video didn't turn out well because the camera just couldn't zoom in well enough on what I was doing. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove the trucks. If you're unfamiliar with how these work, you've got the motor right here, turns flywheels through these universals. There's a worm gear right here you'll see in a minute, and then there's a bunch of spur gears in here that turn each wheel. We'll get into that when we take the trucks off. So the first thing I'm going to do, go. This side doesn't seem to be as bad with the grease. This power clip we won't need anymore. I'll just take that off and remove it. Now, to remove the motor's held on by this rubber isolation deal right down in here. Now, you don't want to just pull this out because you can break that rubber thing. So the best way to do this is take this from the other side and push these. If you can see down in there, push that. Yeah, these things are all hard. This is really old. There. These things are supposed to be soft and rubbery, but they're not. They're all kind of pretty much hardened up over the years. Okay, the other thing you want to clean up are the brushes here. These actually don't look terrible. That's on the camera there. A little bit. Okay, then the other thing I like to do is just try and come in here and just use anything you can to clean out you can see there's a little bit of gunk in there I'm getting out. I think if you get too much buildup in here, it'll make the motor run inefficiently. You'll get some continuity here between the poles. You don't want that. You can see I got a small amount out of that. Okay, so this is pretty much ready to go. I'll take this the rest of the way apart in the second part of the video when I do the electrical connections, but I think I got most of the grease off. Okay, so the trucks come apart. You gotta pry. Like that. And then this thing comes off the bottom. Let's get that. Okay, so then the two sides of this are going to come apart. Kind of like so. So here you can see how these little gears work. The light, I think I can just remove that. We won't be using it. Okay, what a mess. Good grief. Okay, so I think I got that cleaned up pretty well. Now, okay, so as I reassemble this, I am going to put a little bit of rail zip. This is really just automatic transmission fluid, but it's good for any place that needs to make electrical contact, like right here. From here to here is how we get electrical pickup. So just a tiny amount at each of these bearings. Should ensure we get good electrical pickup. Okay, everything's kind of back together. Seems to turn okay. And then this thing's gonna go. And looks like I missed a little bit of grease here. Wow, what a mess. Whatever you do, do not use black automotive grease on your trains. And then give this a little bit. Give each of these just a little bit. If you go ahead and work that in. This is so much better already. These didn't really want to move with all that hard black grease in it. Okay, so that one should be good. Now it's just a repeat on this other one here. Okay, now on to the decoder install. One of the most important things you have to do when you're putting a DCC on any of these older locomotives is you have to electrically isolate the motor. So the way it works right now is this set of wheels on this side conduct electricity up through these tabs, these, whatever you call these arms right here. The other side, these wheels conduct up through this pivot point and through the chassis. So originally, this touched here, connected, and then touched to the top. And then the bottom, these little this touch right here to make contact. You can't have that. That'll burn out a decoder. So we can't have this connecting to here. Now the brushes, we have to connect wires. Okay, so to the motor we need to connect the orange wire and the gray wire. Okay, so we're gonna need to solder a wire to right here and right here. So in order to do that, you don't want to do that on here because you'll melt the plastic, so you'll want to pop these off. So just get underneath here, pry that up. Now inside here there's going to be a spring and a brush, so dump those out. Same on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to want to solder the wires right here. So I'm going to take a file and just clean that up. Just get the oxide off there a little bit, make it solder a lot easier. Get that nice and shiny. Both of those. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of solder going on these. That's focusing there. Get some solder on here. And again, the other one. Okay, this is the bottom. Now when you put the brush in, there's a flat side and a curved side. You want to drop the curved side down and then the spring. And this is going to be the bottom. That. The other side. Here's the brush, curved side down. Once again. Okay, so that's going to come out that way. Like this. These are these rubber things. You can buy new ones of these if yours are super hard like these. I don't know how. No, they're not. They're pretty brittle, but I think they'll still work. So these attach under here, just like that. Now the other thing I am going to do is, just to make absolute sure that this does not touch anything, I am going to I'm going to put a little bit of black electrical tape along that. Okay, do not want this making contact with the chassis. Snaps back on there. There. Okay, very good. Okay, there we go. Trucks are back on. This is connected. Grab the file again and clean up a little. Also going to need to connect a black wire to like the back of this. So I hit that one too. Just want to scrape off the oxide a little bit to give the solder something good to stick to. So you just kind of want to get a little blob of solder going on here and on here. And I'm going to go with the back of this one here too. All right. So I'm going to need to hook red wires to both of these and a black wire to this. So I think the decoder's gonna sit like right here. So the black wire here, I'm going to attach right here. Depending on what model you have, you may have a better option. This red wire is not going to be long enough to do both these, so I'm going to cut a piece of wire about so long. Okay, so these are the 4 basic wires you have to have hooked up for it to work. You've got to have orange and gray going to the motors, clips, and then you need red and black going to either side of the rail. I think the convention is usually go red to here and black to the chassis. And the gray and the orange, this is going to be the back A unit, so it's going to go backwards. That's why I put the gray wire on top and the orange wire on the bottom. If you put the orange wire on the top and the gray wire on the bottom, then this will be the normal direction of travel that way. If you do it like I have it here, this will be the normal direction of travel. You can change that in the decoder. You can program the decoder. I just like to do it this way. It's just simpler when I'm going to have an MU. I have the back units going the opposite direction. And this can go to the test track. See if it works. Okay, I got the whole setup here on the programming track. And to make sure it works, I am going to just hit identify up here. And hopefully you can hear it clicking and see it move just a little bit, so I think it works. Okay, so earlier in the video when you saw me put this back together, I actually switched. I had the trucks backwards. If you notice, this is much longer right here than the back one is. So I went ahead off camera and took it all back apart and switched it back the way it's supposed to be. I may have been able to just change this plastic clip part. I don't know. Also, off camera, I wired up the other A and the B unit. It's basically, I did the exact same thing. We got red wire connected here, here, black wire, orange on top, gray on the bottom to the motor, isolate the bottom of the motor. I mounted the decoders. Back here on top of the truck. I don't love that, but I guess it's better than having it on the shell, especially on here on the B unit where there isn't any need to connect into the shell. There aren't any lights in the shell. There aren't any lights at all, so. But I believe the lights on these should be headlights here, Mars light, and then a red light at the very top, and then maybe the number boards. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do all that up, so I'm going to put that in a second video. Okay, that's all for this video. Next video, hopefully I'll get something done for lights. Thanks for watching.